has been vacated by the previous speaker. Please speak into the microphone and identify yourself and provide your address for the record when you begin speaking. Address your comments, questions, and testimony to the commission. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. It is unnecessary to repeat testimony previously given by others. Citizens may address the commission on agenda items by responding to the chair's call for speakers during the discussion on each item and signing the speaker's log at the podium. All comments must be relevant to the item. The chair or presiding officer may, in his or her discretion, prohibit a person from addressing the committee and/or remove that person from the council chambers if that person commits any disorderly or disruptive behavior. Please see the agenda for more information about these requirements. If you're parked in the Sheridan Walker parking garage north of John Rex Elementary School or the Arts District parking garage immediately south of City Hall, staff can provide you with a parking validation ticket. The agenda and documents are located at www.okc.primegov.com/public/portal. You would then select Urban Design Commission meeting and then on an agenda item, and the relevant documents will come up below the item. Keith, ready for roll?
Holmes?
Here.
Apatone? Here. Black? Here. Sarneco?
Here.
Dixon Oso? Here. We have quorum.
All right. Quorum's confirmed. We had meeting minutes not from last month, but the month before. That is for June 26th. Anyone have any questions or a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I will second that motion.
Here. Oh, you can abstain. You can abstain. Yeah.
All right, minutes are approved. Okay, there are no cases withdrawn, no continuance request. We do have a consent docket of one item, which is UDCA-24-0026 at 3024 Paseo. If there's any questions on this, speak out, or if we have a motion on this, go for it.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent docket.
I'll second.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Tony and then Ashley did. All right. Okay, consent docket is approved. Okay, cases for individual consideration. We have UDCA-24-0024 at 908 North Chartel Avenue. Comes from Michael.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This application at 908 North Chartel is for a couple of single-family detached residences on a 70 by 50-foot lot. It's a difficult site due to a number of various conditions with respect to slope being one of them, and then access to utilities being another. We've addressed for you in our staff report a couple of the issues affecting this case. One of them is the material being used on the building, and they're using some cementitious plank siding on the building. The overlay for, the DBD1 district, which covers the Cottage District, does include a guideline that allows for the use of this material through the design review process, and it's been approved several times before for other houses in the Cottage District. So this is not anything new, and we're going to support the use of that material with our recommendation to you on this case. The other guideline that applies to this case is a little bit more substantial and significant. The site is abutting an alley, and as you may know, the guidelines in downtown for Cottage District dictate that whenever the alley is accessible to the site, that garage access is taken from the alley. If the applicant were proposing to develop just one house on this site, that would be fairly easy to accomplish. However, they're proposing two, and you could argue that the development of the northerly unit precludes access to the alley from the southerly unit. We have approved development on this site before and explored the possibility of providing a common driveway along the east property line that would go to the alley and serve garages on the rear of the units, of both units. That's been difficult to convince applicants to accept, and the last project that was approved on this site did not do that. In fact, it was, just for your background, it was a case that was denied by this body and appealed to the Board of Adjustment and approved at that level. And so for a number of reasons, the commission thought it was a bad project and recommended deny, or actually did deny the project, but it was overturned by the BOA. In this case, we've been working with the applicant on this issue for, I would say, the better part of 3 or 4 weeks. They indicated to us that they weren't aware of that particular guideline when they started the design of the project, which is unfortunate, but even if they had been aware of it, it would still be a difficult proposition to satisfy. They've indicated that they have some ideas about how they might be able to go about perhaps meeting that, or perhaps providing an alternative that might be acceptable to this commission, but those designs are not in our hands yet. We haven't had a chance to review them yet, and they were hoping to come to the commission today to get some feedback on, I guess, the overall design of the project, as well as the issue of alley access for the garage. So we talked to the applicant about a continuance for this project, and since continuing it in a month would mean that they would have to have the revised plans into us next Tuesday, which is less than a week away, we have recommended a continuance till the September meeting. And we're prepared to respond to any questions that the commission may have on this item.
I don't know if I have any questions. Do we have anyone in the crowd that wants to speak? All right.
Fallon Brooks Magnus, Jollybird Design, 733 Northwest 22nd. So Michael has been great. He's been a big help. The lot to the, so this is currently, I think it's actually all just one lot now, but we were shown originally something that showed it split into 3, which is kind of crazy. We're only splitting it into 2, and so on the lot to the south, we would like to leave that one as is. We had kind of worked up some different site options for putting the garages in the rear and doing like a common drive across the back. That's difficult because we have some setback issues in the front. Our first problem is the house to the south is set back quite a ways, and I know that the guidelines say that's a 10-foot maximum, but we're also supposed to kind of average, what else is on the street. And their garage does push out to a 5-foot setback, and so we were hoping to be somewhere in the 5 to 7 range. But even if we were at 5 feet, plus a 22 to 24-foot drive in the rear to access the garages, this is only a 60-foot deep lot. So that leaves us with 30, a little over 30 feet for the first floor, and 22 to 24 in depth for a garage leaves us not a whole lot of room. So that was our concern with doing that. We have discussed, I think, what we're willing to do and what we would like for the commission to kind of approve today, or not approve. We know we're going to get a continuance. But what we would really like is we want to redesign the house on the north, take alley access like Michael's suggesting. But the house to the south, we just feel like there's not really another way to do it. There is a garage, there is a drive apron immediately to the south for that house, and it's on Chartel. And so it wouldn't be something that's, not, there's no other example of it on the street. There's one right next door. So that's kind of our hope for that, is to leave the south unit alone and then rework the north unit. And so really today what we want to talk about is that, and then also the setback and the height. And I can go in and clarify some of the things on the height and why we designed it the way we did and what we're proposing as an alternative as well, but I'll wait for questions, I guess.
I have a question. And this may be for Michael too, the project that was approved that went through planning, did they have a shared driveway? Do you remember they were both single,
No,
so
they
two
had
curb cuts?
They had 3 driveways on Chartel.
3 driveways, so 3 curb cuts, okay, or yes.
And we're proposing one.
And you're proposing just one?
Just one. I know this
Alley
plan
access
shows
for
2.
the-
Yeah,
yeah.
we're totally willing. I just think it's really limiting for us to put a 24-foot drive across the rear.
So the picture on the bottom right, which would be your bottom right too, shows that there's just like a few steps up to the site. I imagine with this plan here, you're cutting out a lot of dirt, right?
Yeah, so one of the things that we kind of proposed was the lowest, so the garage level would be kind of sunk below grade.
Yep.
I think it's like 3.5 feet maybe. The other problem we ran into with doing that and having 2 drives right there was that sidewalk to get all the ADA ramps, and you're just constantly doing this. So we kind of proposed, and I don't know if the plan makes it very clear, but we proposed kind of eliminating the sidewalk. But that's something that we would have to work out with Public Works, just putting it all in the same grade and finding a way to maybe do a curb or something to separate the walking space from the bike path. But I think if we just do one driveway, we won't have that limitation. It'll be a lot easier to achieve those ADA ramps. And I guess my biggest question is on height. I know that our guidelines say 50 feet, but one of the conversations we've had with Michael was that we didn't want to be towering over the house to the south. And even being sunk 3 feet below grade, we're almost 20 feet taller than that house. And so it's hard to avoid that without severely limiting our floor plan, because it's a very small lot. Our suggestion is, and we haven't drawn it because we couldn't submit it in time, but the house to the north would actually sit on top of the grade, and so you'd kind of get this step down sort of look between the 3 houses. We felt like that would be a good alternative. So those are kind of some of the things that we're working on to alleviate some of the issues that we have, and we really just wanted feedback today to see where your big concerns are, and what we maybe aren't thinking of or what we might need to alleviate. So.
Can I just say that I appreciate your innovation with the scale and the stair step. I had an opportunity to work with Dan Perelick, who wrote Missing Middle Housing, and he would always tell me, yes, that form and scale are much more important than architectural design. I'm a little sad for this cottage district. I feel like we're gonna have to change the name soon, but at the same time, your design, or at least the previous one, tracks with what's currently being built there. So just kudos to you for that, because I was concerned about sort of the scale of the next house being just the first
I'm usually
story, so.
breaking all the rules, so that feels good, thank you.
Yeah, congrats
Katie
on
knows.
that.
So the two issues that you're trying to work through, well, two of the issues. You're trying to come forward to 7 feet setback.
So we proposed 7 feet here, and we could leave it at 7. I think 5 would be nice. That would match the garage to the south. There's currently nothing to the north except for the next corner. And so, that kind of, I feel like that's consistent, putting it at 5 feet, or I would caution saying 5 feet, maybe we match the existing garage to the south, so it might be 4.5, I'm not sure.
And the guideline regulation for setback is no greater than 10?
No, the setback in downtown is the range of the existing setbacks
Okay.
of the structures on the same side of the street,
Okay.
on the same block. And for this block, in that situation, we'll only have the house up on 9th and Chartel, and then the house right at the corner at 8th and Chartel. So they've used, one of the plans in their packet has a diagram that shows the setback of those two residences.
Yeah.
And as long as they're in that range, they're fine.
Okay. So there's no issue there with the 7 feet.
I thought we had to take an average of the two, so we could be at 5. That is acceptable.
Yeah.
Sweet, okay.
One's the-
Question 1 answered. I like that.
No issue there.
Making progress.
One has to be there.
And then with respect to the height,
Why can't they both be?
Yeah.
remind me again, because we're
Maybe
talking
off this,
about
it's more
the height of there. Is there
appealing
an
to
issue
not-
with the height?
They'd use
I
alley
wasn't
access for
seeing
the garage
anything in
on
the
this
right
back
of
one.
an issue with the height.
Well, the height limit in cottage is 3 stories or 50 feet. We apply both standards. The 50 feet is a hard line. If they can't stay under 50 feet, they're going to have to get a variance.
And they are under 50 feet.
Yeah, they are right now, yeah.
We're almost
Where-
10 feet under, actually.
So
We're in
no
really good
issue with
shape.
height.
I don't think it's going to be
So
an
it's re-
issue.
It's really going to boil down to driveway.
Right.
I think my concern was always, I'm so used to historic preservation where everything is a guideline and it's case by case. And so I
Right.
thought that meant that there was a possibility that you guys would tell us because of the height difference of the house to the south. So,
No, okay.
so that's good. I like that too.
And then when it comes to the driveway, I mean, I see exactly what you're saying, and I understand the precedent of the house to the south. In this particular case, it doesn't seem to bother me as much next to the existing drive, and I do agree that it would be a real challenge, especially to have any kind of east space on the north lot if you carved through it with a driveway. I'd love to see what you come up with. But I tend to agree that it seems like it would be challenging. I'd love to hear if there's any other comments about thoughts on solving this where the middle lot could be alley access. I'm not seeing how it can be alley access without a real detriment to the northernmost. And considering that it's an anomaly next to an existing house with an existing curb cut, I would entertain seeing what you come up with whenever the project is continued.
That was one of the other concerns and considerations we had in continuing this. She mentioned the driveway essentially replacing the sidewalk that's there today, and that was probably put in the last 2 years by Public Works. The issue with that is, of course, number one, the city has a maximum driveway width of 30 feet, and essentially what they were proposing with this version of the project was a 70-foot wide driveway. And we had not heard back yet from Public Works whether they were going to go along with that or not, but my suspicion would be that they would not. But beyond that, even if they did go along with it, our biggest, I think, concern with the design as it is right now is essentially in the front of the houses, you have a sea of concrete with very little green space relief on the front, and that's atypical for Cottage District, really. So we were hoping that through the incorporation of a garage access to the alley on the north unit, we could get some more greenery on the front, so.
So is the from 7 foot to 5 foot, the advantage to that is so your garage can be bigger? Is that the idea? Or is it just a bigger site in general?
I mean, it just allows us a little, it just allows us to move it forward and have like a little bit of extra yard space in the rear. If we kept it in this formation, yeah.
Because I was wondering if the ground floor could be at one setback and then the other can be, the upper floor can be actually cantilever or something,
Yeah,
so you get extra space. It would maybe, if we could, I don't even know if we can do vertical easements, but that would be one to still get the best of both worlds. But if it's not, I actually like it being off the curb more here, specifically on this street, because even saying you may take the sidewalk away, I don't think that's a
yeah.
good way to go about it. I think it'd be nice to keep that. I will say this street, I mean, running this street it's great to run down, but to run up, it's really difficult because it's a really steep street. So to say the sidewalk's not as important on the street because they're important on all streets, I will say that walkability on the street's one thing, but it's not the most walkable street just by design. But with the way the second unit's designed, I'd like to encourage you to do more green space on that west side for that part of it. And then the other one, while it can be more, concrete for the driveway, I think how that other house is designed will actually make this kind of glam up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it'll just make it to where the only part where we have a cut and concrete will be where the garage is, and I think we can have stairs and a nice green space and everything without cutting all of the sidewalk and everything out like we had previously. So I think it does change on the street level what that looks like,
Yeah,
even with an apron in there.
awesome. Because my thought too is this being one lot, if one house were to go here, it'd be accessible on the north side. With two going here, it's to say it's more dense just by design, but you still will have that north like charm. I think I'm okay with the design as is, because also seeing the constraints with the grade, it's not the cheapest option probably even to do this, but I could see you gain the most square footage, so it's more appealing too. So I don't have a major opposition, but it is contingent on the design of the other house.
Yeah. Okay, I'm good with that.
You mentioned just recently, and I want to just maybe reiterate, some green in between the existing house and the middle house curb cut at that elevated. That's going to be a nice softening of the edge. And I think that
Yeah.
that's exactly what you said, so I just want to make sure that at
Yeah,
least
I think probably what we'll do on the first level is flip-flop it so that the garage is further to the north so that we have more separation between those drives. But yeah, it certainly, I think, is going to result in a much better streetscape.
Good.
Yeah, because I was actually, if you flip-flop that south house, the part I like about this is the stairs that go up, but you actually could flip it where you could get a couple stairs up maybe and do a little less cut on the site, but I don't know, it'll maybe make it more appealing on that south side.
I've already got it in my head in 3D, so we're good. I think I know what I'm going to do.
Any other comments?
Anything else that you want to address, questions?
All right. Do we have a motion? Or wait, my bad. Do we have anyone else in the crowd that wants to speak? I apologize.
Good afternoon, Council. My name's Kevin Thurman. I live at the house. If you flip up 924 North Chartel, I'm just to the north. And my biggest concern is like Michael had said before, the past commission had denied this, and it had to go to the Boards of Adjustment to get it passed through for numerous reasons. It was the height. The main thing about me is the city has spent all this money on the sidewalks, the bike lane, and everything that's going up there, and to cut a curb out and to put a driveway out into the pedestrian and the bicycle, I just don't think it's a very good idea. And like Michael had said, it's been declined before, and I think that it should just really just go to a single family. He also said about the codes, everything down there is supposed to be alley access for the garage. And so that's just my biggest concern about the whole project. Thank you.
Do we, anyone else? Any commission comments or discussion?
You're okay for a continuance until September?
Yes, unfortunately. There's no way I can do that by Tuesday.
Do we have a motion to continue?
I'll make a motion that we continue the application to the meeting of September 25th, 2024, to allow the applicant at a time to explore ways to redesign the northernly dwelling unit so that the vehicular access to the garage is taken from the alley.
I'll second that motion.
All right, it's been continued.
Thank you.
Other business, we have none today. Administrative approval report. Any questions on this, anyone? Or anything you want to pull out and ask a question?
The first item is a revision to a previously administratively approved case at Rainbow Records northwest corner of 23rd and Classen. They originally had a project approved that was fairly innocuous and not a big change from what was there before. But during the demolition portion of the project, which they had to do because they had a roof collapse, much of the existing structure to the north collapsed along with the roof. So they ended up having to come up with a new idea how to handle all that stuff. And basically, they've come back with a plan that I think is better than what we originally approved. And hopefully, when they're done with it, it'll look a lot better than it does today. And the big bonus out of this one is that we're going to lose a billboard that was on top of that building. So other ones is a sign, and the third one is also a sign. So nothing of too great significance on that report today.
I don't make a motion, correct? Okay. Any comments from planning staff?
I'll just note that the commission consolidation ordinance has been introduced and has been to public hearing at City Council. It should be adopted July 30th, so next Tuesday, and then it would take effect a month after that. This commission doesn't go away. We will continue to have Urban Design Commission, and this commission will continue to meet at this date and this time, but we may see some new faces or not. So you may or may not be hearing from the mayor's office about that kind of thing, or from our staff in the coming weeks, but we'll continue to keep you posted on that.
So if we don't hear, do we continue to show up?
Yes, please continue to come until told otherwise.
Okay. Any comments from commissioners? All right. Our next meeting date is the Wednesday, August 28th, same time. We are adjourned.